It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the owner of Ok3Sports Media. How are you doing today?
Hello, Brandon. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you got started in your sports media company?
Yes, I had retired from the Air Force and we had recently located to San Antonio, Texas. So I was there for about 3 months and no media jobs were opening. And I applied to every one of them and no jobs was opening. So I decided that I would just start mine. And that's how I got started.
How did you know that you wanted to start your own sports media company?
Well, I didn't know I wanted to start. What happened was, like I said, because I couldn't find anything to do, and I was recently retired from the Air Force, so I didn't have anything to do, but I knew I wanted to take pictures, and I knew I wanted to be part of the sports world. So that's how I said, I got to make this happen, and that's what I did.
That's wonderful. What are some of the high schools that you cover?
We cover almost all the high schools in San Antonio, Texas. We cover schools in Oklahoma City. We cover a lot of schools in Oklahoma City, Enid, Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Talladega County in Alabama. We're pretty much everywhere. Ohio, in the Dayton City area, Dayton, Ohio, all around Ohio, Springville, as far as up to Cincinnati. We're pretty much everywhere. We're South Carolina. We're going to start covering South Carolina next week. And whenever North Carolina open up the football season back up, we'll be ready.
Speaking about North Carolina, what are some schools that you plan to cover in North Carolina, as I'm in North Carolina?
We're definitely going to hit Raleigh pretty hard. We're going to hit Garner High School, Word of God, if they still good like they used to be. Word of God, maybe Trinity, Kirsten, Fayetteville, down there. What is it? Kingston, North Carolina?
Yes, Kinston.
Yeah, so we're going to be all over those areas.
Are you going to be covering any schools like past Raleigh, like, for example, Aycock, Eastern Wayne, Southern Wayne, Rosewood, Princeton?
Oh, yeah. So what they would have to be on the radar. So unfortunately, somebody would have to say, hey, these are, some very good athletes out here. And then that way we will try to get them on the schedule to go out there.
What are some other states that you plan to cover in the future?
Some other states we're trying to cover in the future is, like this year we've covered Georgia, Alabama. So we're gonna try to pick up Virginia and DC this year. So we're trying to get the whole, in Mississippi maybe. So we're gonna try to cover the whole southeastern part.
Do you cover any colleges?
We do. We have covered UTSA, UMHB, NCCU, North Carolina A&T, Shaw University, and we have no limitations. If they allow us to come, we're definitely going to go up there and provide media coverage.
Can you talk about covering the Big Shot basketball tournament?
Man, I tell you, Kevin and them over there at the Big Shots, they put on a great tournament. I went over there and I was thoroughly impressed. I love the energy that they give. I love how all the talent they have under one roof. And for media, we love that. We love having all that talent because our audience love to see all that talent, displayed on our social media platforms. So it was a great opportunity, and it was wonderful just to be a part of it.
What is your experience covering high school games around the country?
Woo! I tell you, they are very unpredictable. Each game is very unpredictable, but it is so much fun. It's so much fun seeing these young kids, celebrating the game, and it's just a pleasure for us to make them feel like hometown heroes, and that's what we do.
What is your experience along with the college going around the country?
Oh man, the colleges are so much fun, and it's a different level. And to see that talent, to see those kids, because that's a different percentage that get to play at college level, and all those kids are just so, fun to watch, and it's really exciting, and it's a different kind of coverage as well. And I say different kind of coverage because they play to the cameras, they play to the audience, so it makes it a lot more fun to cover those college games.
Can you talk about what the process is like getting credentials for the high school level versus the college level?
The difference is, at the high school level, you probably get a response back immediately. At the college level, it takes about 2 to 3 days, and sometimes you don't find out until 12 hours before the game, which is kind of bad in some instances because sometimes you have to fly to the games. You got to get hotel preparations, and if you don't know you're going to get, if the credential's not going to, if you're not going to get one, you would like to know beforehand so you don't, plan and it fails.
What is the process on getting credentials for each state? Like, for example, I know with me working out of North Carolina, I have a credential just for the North Carolina area. What is your experience like?
Like in North Carolina, you have to go through the NCHSAA, I think it's called. And then in Oklahoma, you have to go through the same thing, but you have to go through it for Oklahoma. In Alabama, you can use your own media credentials until state playoffs come around, and then you have to apply through the Alabama AHS. What is it? Alabama High School Association, Athletic Association. So each one is different. I know in Texas you have to apply with each school district. So it's not an easy task, and trying to find out all those different things can be quite challenging for high schools.
With you talking about in Oklahoma, you have a credential only for the playoffs. Can you talk a little bit more about that challenging for that?
For Ohio and Alabama, not Oklahoma. Ohio and Alabama, what you have to do is, for your media company, you have to cover at least 5 regular games in the playoffs for that team. So, for example, if I was covering Montford High School, I would have to cover a minimum of 5 games during the regular season in order to follow them through the playoffs. And the same thing in Ohio, you have to cover a regular football team 5 times, or basketball or volleyball, whatever you're covering. You have to cover them at least a minimum of 5 times during the regular season before you can follow them to the playoffs.
Thank you. What are some of your future plans for Ok3Sports Media?
Whoa, that's a big question. I'm telling you, I can dream all day. But what we would like to see is, we would like to be covering, all games and all, and I believe that is possible. And I know it's not going to be overnight, but we believe that we can do it, because we want to make each kid in high school feel like a hero. I know when I was in high school, I would always go to the paper to look to see if I had any pictures, and I never did. So shame on them for not putting me in the paper.
What are some states, that you do not cover right now that you're planning on covering?
Right now, we haven't been to California yet, so we want to go out there. We want to go to California, Missouri, believe it or not, in Indiana, because I heard Indiana has some great basketball players. So I want to. Those are a couple that we would like to try to go to.
Can you talk about the difference between OK3Sports Media and the MaxPreps?
MaxPreps have more money than OK3Sports. That's the easiest answer. Yeah, but the biggest difference, they have a lot more advertisement, a lot more journalists and sports photographers. But we coming for you, MaxPreps. We coming for you.
What are some of your all similarities?
They take good pictures. We take good pictures. They are at a lot of big games. We try to be at a lot of big games. Similarities. We definitely have a lot, but we're better.
What advice would you give upcoming future sports media companies looking to get into sports media?
The advice I would give to future upcoming sports media guys is definitely work for a team or a program that you can learn from. So you can learn how to network, learn how the business works before you jump out there, because you will be struggling. Well, not struggling, but it will ease the transition for you, for your business.
Thank you for your advice. Where can my listeners find OK3Sports Media at on social media?
You can find me on Instagram at Ok3Sports, Twitter, and Facebook at Ok3Sports. And I really need my listeners to tell their moms to follow us on Facebook so they can tweet all those good pictures and stuff that we have of them, because their family would love them. But yeah, definitely it's Ok3Sports on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Thank you again for your interview, and best of luck with your sports media company, OK3Sports Media. You can find.
Thank you so much. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again for your interview, and best of luck in your future business.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.